Welcome to Inland Empire Alive, bringing you issues, events, and perspectives from throughout San Bernardino and Riverside counties. I'm David Brady, and in today's show I'll welcome Sandy Courtney to talk about Rialto Community Players and the local theater group's long history. That's today on Inland Empire Alive. Well, I'm delighted to welcome my next guest to the program, Sandy Courtney, the namesake of the Sandra R. Courtney Community Playhouse, a living legend of local theater. Sandy, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
So I want to go all the way back to the beginning. Before we talk about the Playhouse, before we talk about Rialto Community Players, let's talk about how you got started as an actress. It was quite a long time ago.
Okay. It was when I was 14 and my parents decided to come from Wisconsin to California. It was a really good decision. I loved that whole idea. So she turned into a stage mother. So she decided to enroll me into the Herald Express Better Babies exposition in the Herald Express newspapers, and there were 30,000 children in that. And so she did this modeling sketch with her and I was one of the winners out of the 30,000 children and ended up with a movie contract to do a Western, at a studio in Tarzana, and it was Rocky Lane, and it was fun, and it was so different, and my mother was spurred on from there. So she put me in dance lessons with Megan's Teens, and we danced at the Shrine Auditorium, and we danced all over the place. And then I was modeling all the time, and I was in Los Angeles at the Coconut Grove and all over the place, and she dragged me back and forth, and I was still going to school all this time. And so I got involved in high school and then went into drama and eventually ended up winning a scholarship to Pasadena Playhouse, which was flourishing at that time, and got to know Gilmore Brown, who started the Playhouse and just a few years ago was awarded the Gilmore Brown Award from the Playhouse.
So this had to have been such an exciting time. It was kind of maybe the tail end of the studio system, but TV was booming. Disney was huge on TV. Talk to me about your connection with Disney and television.
Okay, when I was at Pasadena Playhouse, I was stage manager at the Playbox for, it was like a pocket theater for Pasadena Playhouse. And so one of the girls threw a fit, and she was an actress, and they were paying her, and they said to me, the stage manager, get on the part. So I had 2 days to learn the part and be stage manager. And so I thought, okay. And then an agent picked me up from there. And then another agent saw my pictures after that, and it was a much bigger agency, Mitchell Hammelberg, and they told me how to break the contract with the agent himself. So then I ended up, one of the first things I did was working at Warner Brothers and I was kind of it was Marjorie Morningstar, and Natalie Wood was the main character.
This is a very popular adaptation of a book.
Right, Gene Kelly had seduced her, and so now we go through the whole movie, and now she's very upset with Gene Kelly. So now there's another guy and I at the end of the movie where Gene Kelly is seducing me. And evidently my voice was so similar to hers that they had to cut from her to me, and then they said, no, you have to come in and loop another line, which was very exciting in those days. And so that was the beginning of it all. And so then I got I tried out auditioned for the part in Zorro, and everybody seems to absolutely love that. And to think that was done in 1958, and it is now on the Disney Channel, so you can still see Rosarita Cortez.
At what, age 19, I believe it was?
That's right.
Like perfectly preserved. So what is it like to see yourself?
20. At first, it was black and white. And so then over the years, and my husband then wasn't my husband, but he came to the cast party. And so he got all kinds of extra film, and so he was able to put together some of the pictures, the ones that you have there.
Well, and I want the viewers to understand, Zorro was not just a TV show back then. It was a massive, massive phenomenon.
Yes.
You want to talk about heartthrob,
Yeah.
Guy Williams. I mean, this was not just a TV show. There was merchandise. I mean, you talk about Fess Parker, Guy Williams, Lloyd Bridges, these massive, massive stars.
He was absolutely adorable, Guy Williams. And I mean, at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're in makeup, and he would come in and put his arm on Bernardo and said, "Oh, that's what she looks like in civvies," you know, and they'd say, "Oh, just wing it. That's what we do." I mean, he was so
And
kind.
these people are like impeccably beautiful. I mean, they're otherworldly, beautiful. These leading men, Gene Kelly and Natalie Wood. It just must be like walking among immortals.
Oh, I did meet Cary Grant. That was really immortal. So, but I tell you, Guy Williams was the kindest, sweetest man, and just adored him. And of course, he saved my life, when the villain was trying to strangle me. But you can still see them on the Disney Channel, The Unmasking of Zorro and The Agent of the Eagle, 2 separate shows. And the bad guy knew that I was on the same boat and could identify him. So I had to go.
Well, as I was researching to interview you, I found on Facebook, someone was like, please, can you get these messages to Sandy and let her know how many fans she has in South America? Rosarita Cortez, she's beloved for this episode. And I'm like, and you popped in at the end and said, wow, that was 50 some years ago. This was 10 years ago that it was even posted. And just to know that it lives forever.
It does.
So talk to me about how you, I know you got married, and then you sort of kind of changed gears a little bit, but you were still an actress, and now you devoted much of your attention to the community.
Well, my husband was in the Air Force Reserves, but he had to go to boot camp. And at that time, we had decided to get married. And my parents were not at all happy because they wanted me to continue on being a movie star because I had been offered a 7-year contract with the Starlet system at 20th Century Fox. And so it was a big decision, and I signed it. And so I thought, oh, no. And Don was not happy. He was not happy. That was almost the end. But I thought, no, I made the wrong decision. I've really got to fix this. So we ended up getting married and moving to San Luis Obispo to go to college to have him finish. And I worked in the complaint department at Sears, with my acting skills. And so he ended up being happy, but now I'm worried about, okay, this contract is going to follow me around. But then came, what happened right now? All this strike, that's what happened then. And so nobody chased me down, and so it ended up, I didn't have to honor it. So that put me into the second chapter of my life. And it was children and PTA and brownies. I danced and sang everybody.
So you never lost the love for performing?
No, I directed, we got such a popular PTA show that we had to go to a bigger venue. It was so popular every year. So it was one of those kind of times in your lives where you go with the flow, and I was lucky to be in the times when the women could stay home, and I had 4 kids every 2 years, whether I needed it or not. And so they were not as interested in acting, but they're all actors. They are all hilarious and wonderful, wonderful kids. I have 63 on down, so they're really great kids. But now that my husband's been gone for 5 years, so we've managed just fine. Because when I started the theater in 1982, the city brought me over to their meeting, and they had offshoots that they wanted to take care of from Parks and Rec. I was one of them. All the other offshoots did not work. But I thought, oh my gosh, I have got 2 kids in college and 2 kids in high school. Should I do this? Of course, Don would say no, but I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And so I started out with a gymnasium and no money. That's how I began.
Age, you said age?
82. Well, I was 45, yeah.
And they just said, start it from scratch.
Yes.
Start a community theater from scratch.
Really scratch. It was primitive. It was primitive. So they gave us the senior site to rehearse and dress in, and then we had the gymnasium for the shows, but then we had to compete with the basketball players. So and
acoustically, it's built for basketball.
Right.
It's not built for theater.
No heating and cooling, and so we had this metal curtain we pulled across the stage, and there's the basketball players and the buzzers going off, and we're trying to build a set.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, the actors dressed in the paint closets. Oh my gosh.
Well, so now, 41 years later, You have a beautiful facility that bears your name now.
Well-
What does it say to you that not only did it succeed in 1982, but that it has lasted this long and it has grown and flourished?
Well, actually 6 years after I took it on at 82, I'd have had it right up to here with the primitive stuff. And I was marching through the gym and a basketball hit me in the head. And and I thought, oh, I have really had it. So I marched over to the office and I was ready to say, I have absolutely had it with you guys. And so I walked in and they said, Sandy, just the person we wanted to see. I said, okay. And they said, how would you like a theater down on San Bernardino and Riverside Avenues at the old YMCA? And I said, okay. They said, we're going to build a new facility down there. If you help us build the pool, we'll help you build the theater. And they let us be in on every single architectural meeting that there was. So the theater is built by theater people for theater people. And so in 1990, January 20th, we were all dressed up in our black tie and dresses, and the Brown was there. I mean, we had all kinds of celebrities. And so we opened the theater with Plaza Suite. And ever since, it's been a kind of a love affair with the city, because they have supported us through this whole thing. They have always been there for me, because they said that I had priority and that they would back me. We have a little skirmishes, but it was all just, you know, we built and we built and we built, and we went from very primitive to now we can do musicals like West Side Story that we just did. It was concert worthy. It was a man that came, and he was in a wheelchair, and I went back because he came again the next week, and I said, oh my gosh, you're here again. And he said, yes. He said, this is Pantages quality, and I'm not going to miss it.
Well, I want to make sure I give out the web address so people can find out about all the wonderful shows, all the wonderful programs. It's rialtocommunityplayers.com.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about a typical season. What can people expect in a typical RCP season?
Okay, you have the season there, and this is, we're now on the Christmas show, which is Division on South, we are Miracles on South Division Street. And it is being rehearsed now. It's supposed to be a really sweet show, and you just kind of grab your heart at Christmas time. And then we have Love, Sex, and the IRS just to wake everybody up. And then who doesn't like Arsenic and Old Lace? I mean, who does not like
So it's a mix of drama, musical,
Yes.
works you may know, new works, and I understand you also sometimes stage local playwrights.
We have done original shows and pulled them
Even
off.
children's drama classes that end up producing a production at the end as well, I've seen.
Yes, we did that years ago. Yeah, forgot about that.
So what does it say to you that there is such a vibrancy now, 41 years later after you were asked to build this from scratch, that it's still going so strong?
Well, I got to say that this kid that came at 17, his name was Cameron Harris, and I don't know why I saw something in him, but I did, and I just kind of brought him along till he is our really fabulous musical director. Now we're going to do 2 musicals this coming year, and he really has come along, and he does it all. He's really selfless and good at what he does, you know. And so I'm really pleased to say that we have come all this way, and it's because of people.
Well, Sandy Courtney, thank you so much for being on the program. I want to again tell everybody it's rialtocommunityplayers.com. Tickets are on sale now. You can find information about the upcoming season there at the website when it's available. Again, Sandy, wonderful to have you on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.